Charles Hart, one of a few men of rare vision whose lifelong enthusiasm for the mechanical organ ultimately led to the creation of one of the finest collections of mechanical musical instruments in the country. It was Charles Hart who ensured the preservation of many mechanical musical works of art for the benefit of present and future generations. Charles was a builder who with his partner constructed many estates in the suburbs of St. Albans, and who lived in one of his own houses here in Camp Road. It was in the nearby buildings of this, his builder's yard, that Charles housed a number of mechanical organs, which he imported mainly from Belgium, at a time when such instruments were being sadly neglected in that country. Thus was informally founded the St. Albans Organ Museum, as long ago as 1959. Inside, the museum was very compact, with the organs displayed in close proximity, adorned with flowers, flags and hanging baskets. A whole galaxy of decorative materials gave the place an atmosphere which without doubt had a charm and character all of its own. Spread a little happiness became Charles's theme in life, and throughout the years he wished only for people to join him in the enjoyment of the music. He asked for nothing more. Charles's love of organs took him many times to Belgium, where he formed an association with Oscar and Leonard Grimmenpré, which was to last for many years. Seen here in this picture, Oscar and Leonard were commissioned by Charles to find some of the old organs, make them playable, and to send them to St. Albans. In all, some 40 organs were imported, many of which passed through the hallowed walls of this museum, ultimately to form part of other collections, or to be singularly the proud possession of some other enthusiastic individual. Thus were enjoyed in these early days many happy hours of musical entertainment, and many well-known members of the organ world from both home and abroad would be found here. Organ builders and restorers, organ owners, noteurs and enthusiasts, who simply shared in the love of the organs and their music. On Sunday afternoons in particular, the organ concerts became the order of the day, and the afternoon cup of tea provided by Mrs. Hart soon became an integral part of the proceedings. When the war years closed the building business, Charles retained for hire a number of children's amusements, and each year during the summer months he set up a kiddies' corner in the local park for the 6 weeks of the summer holidays. This activity is an important backdrop to the foundation of the present museum, for quite incredibly in later years some of the larger organs in the museum were dismantled and were re-erected in the park in a large tent some 45 by 30 feet. The tent contained seating and appropriate decorations. Admission was free, and up to 3 organs were transported there at any one time, and were played regularly in turn. Not only organs, but other musical automata were brought there. Player pianos, orchestrions, disc players, music boxes and the like, all played their part. Thus this museum on tour brought pleasure to grown-ups and children, and to families who until that time had had no opportunity to experience the delights of mechanical music. Even at that time, it was quite common for a group of people to adjourn to the museum following an afternoon in the tent. All the mechanical organs at present in the museum have appeared in the park, and it is of great significance to the museum today that the organs played like the Pied Piper and entranced many young people of the time who are today regularly found as visitors and friends of the museum. 1973 was the last year of Charles's amusements in the park, and the rides which had thrilled so many youngsters for so long were sold and dispersed to various parts of the country. Charles Hart's dream was for the collection to be housed in a new building, more suitable for the purpose than the old buildings of his yard. Many plans have been drawn up through the years, thwarted only by cost or planning restrictions. Eventually, not least by the finance raised by the sale of the amusements and the volunteer helpers now available, the way to the new building became open. Thus, the activities in the park had played a fundamental part in the foundation of the present museum. A mammoth task faced the group of enthusiasts as they first cleared the years of accumulated materials from the old buildings. Demolition followed to remove the old sheds from the site of the new. Storage was a temporary problem, and organs were packed into a small part of the building which was to remain and be annexed to the new. Charles, now advancing in years, could hardly believe the vision before him as materials for the outer shell of the building arrived. At last his dream of many years was coming true. He helped with whatever jobs he could manage, whilst the younger enthusiasts, driven by their obvious affection for him and by their own interest in the organs, which he had instilled, formed the heavy gang. For countless hours they gave their free time, and for almost 12 months afternoon tea assumed a new meaning. An account of the efforts involved would make a story in themselves. But eventually the new building was ready, and the time was right to move the organs from their cramped quarters into the new spacious area. First, the 97-key mortier, the 4 columns. Next, the 121-key to cap England's pride. Enter Janique, the 92-key orchestral dance organ. Due to lack of storage space, the Burson's organ had been stored outside. Dampness had penetrated the sheeting, and on entering the new building the organ was unplayable and remained silent for the following 12 months. Between moves, the helpers find time for a quick tune on the piano. After all, this is what it's all about. The smaller exhibits completed the move into the new building. And so, in the fullness of time, a proud and happy Mr. and Mrs. Hart officially opened the new museum on the 28th of May 1980. And as the organs played once again, this time in their new home, Sunday afternoon tea once again assumed its previous role. Charles had been concerned for the future. What would happen to the organ collection when he was no longer around? In 1968, he had chosen 4 trustees from his group of loyal helpers, and this priceless collection was formed into the St. Albans Musical Museum Society, a charitable trust whose purpose is to preserve and maintain the collection for the pleasure of present and future generations. One of the first jobs which the trust carried out in the new building was to present Charles with a framed manuscript in recognition of his foresight in forming the museum. Today the museum is a delightful Aladdin's cave and immediately projects to the visitor a charming old-world atmosphere perfectly recreated and entirely suitable for the musical treasures it contains. The organs play on Sunday afternoons the whole year round, and young and old alike, visitors from far and wide, come here to sample the musical delights of yesteryear. Each organ is played in turn. Let's listen in for a while and sample a little from such a Sunday afternoon. The Mortier organ, for 4 columns, was built around 1912, and organs of this size were used in dance halls, both travelling and permanent. This organ was imported to St. Albans in 1963, and in their time, Mortiers were considered to be the king of the dance organ building. Due to the reputation which mortiers had as organ builders, it was common practice for the name to be removed from other organs and be replaced by mortiers before sale. One such organ was Janique, the 92-key orchestral dance organ, which also arrived here in 1963, bearing the false name of mortier. Janique was in fact built by the Belgian firm of De Cap, and originally played in a luxury dance hall near the Belgian capital of Brussels. The organ front has been restored, and now bears the true and original maker's name. All the mechanical organs are operated by punched card music. This passes through the keyframe situated to the rear of the organ and plays the required tune. The coloured lights on the front of the Janique change with the registers and are also controlled via the keyframe. Behind Janique stands the sole remaining roof pillar from the old building. Remember the decorations of years gone by? This is the actual pillar, and is decorated by a string of onions. The onions remain to this day a link with the past, and are the only thing in the museum which have never been removed, even throughout the building work. No man will ever be brave enough to remove them now. Now to some of the other exhibits. The violin virtuoso is a fascinating device of American origin, dating back to 1912. In the days of the Nickelodeon, patrons would literally queue up to take their turn. Shall we try a penny in the slot? The machine plays a number of tunes from a paper roll mechanism situated in the lower compartment. There are 5 tunes on the roll, the actual one played being the luck of the draw and the next one on the roll. The violin strings are played by small bow wheels which act on the strings as required. Metal fingers replace the human fingers on the strings. The violin therefore plays for real, accompanied by the piano situated at the back of the instrument. try this old-timer, the EMG handmade gramophone, producing sound from the 78 record without any electronic amplification whatever. The pickup uses a reed instead of a needle, and the point is cut with a special pair of clippers. Who remembers this little number from the 1930s?
Hip, 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 hooray! The sun has got his hat on and he's coming out today. Now we'll all be happy. Hip, 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 hooray! The sun has got his hat on and he's coming out today. He's been turning loose out in Timbuktu. Now he's coming back to do the same to you. Jump into your sunbath. Hip, 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 hooray! The sun has got his hat on and he's coming out today. Never saw the grass look greener, never saw the sky serener. What a lot of fun for everyone, sitting in the sun all day. All the little boys excited, all the little girls delighted. What a lot of fun for everyone, sitting in the sun all day. Hip, 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 hooray!
Now for a short interlude on one of the player pianos. Our afternoon continues with another interlude on the organs. The 97-key Burson's Cafe organ was by far the latest organ to arrive at the museum. It was rebuilt by Arthur Bursons himself before being shipped across in 1970. The organ first played in the tent later that year. Cafe organs were very popular in Belgian cafes and restaurants, and it was cafe organs which established Bursons in the organ building business. The casework is quite different from other organs and attempts to recreate the style of the 1930s. A number of music boxes, organettes and disc players make delightful additions to the collection at St Albans. Let's try a coin in the slot of the Symphonian disc player. Sweetie Pie, the automated bird in the gilded cage, fascinates the younger generation on this Sunday afternoon. In keeping with the old tradition at St Albans, Sunday afternoon tea is provided for all visitors in true Mrs Hart fashion and at no extra cost. During the tea break, suitable background music is provided on the Weber Grand Pianola piano, one of a number of role-playing instruments in the collection. The museum houses two magnificent theatre organs. The first is a 10-rank Wurlitzer rescued by Mr Hart from the Granada Cinema, Edmonton. In order to prevent the organ being destroyed by the hammers of the demolition contractors, Charles stayed alone in the empty theatre all night before removal of the organ commenced the following day. The organ was in very poor condition, but Charles preserved it, accepting the challenge to restore it to its former glory. Charles longed for the day when the lush sounds of the organ pipes would echo through the museum. Sadly, he was never to hear the organ play, as he died in 1983, before restoration was complete. The second theatre organ is the unique Rut, which is on extended loan to the museum. This instrument was installed in the Regal Cinema, Hyans Park. The organ has the Odeonesque style of casework, which was probably an early example of this style when the organ was installed in 1935. Regular theatre organ concerts form another activity organised by the group of enthusiastic volunteers who run the St Albans Organ Museum. The Weber Unica is yet another interesting exhibit in the collection. This instrument is half piano and half organ, and forms a link between pianola and mechanical organ. The instrument contains a small amount of pipework, in addition to the conventional piano. And finally, our afternoon tour of the museum and our brief look at just some of the exhibits is concluded by the largest instrument, the 121-key dance organ, England's pride. Affectionately known as Big de Cap, this organ was originally built in 1939 by de Cap of Antwerp for a dance hall in Belgium. But outbreak of war ensured that the organ stood silent for many years. The organ arrived here in 1966. As the melody of Spread a Little Happiness rings forth from the organ, recall the efforts and enthusiasm which have made possible this trip down memory lane. Join the visitors at St Albans Organ Museum. A warm welcome certainly awaits you, and you will not be disappointed. As the lights go down on another Sunday afternoon organ concert, the happy crowd of visitors prepare to leave. People will remember Charles Hart and men of his kind, to whom we owe in such great measure the preservation movement as we know it today. Charles did indeed succeed in spreading that little happiness, but in far greater measure than even he could have wished, through the truly delightful collection which he left behind for the pleasure of us all.